Despite the series ending a couple of years already at this point, Kamen Rider Gio's Ridewatch toy line did return earlier this year with a special set released for the Decade vs. Gio specials. And today, Bandai has announced 3 more sets of Ridewatches, or actually a couple of days ago, but Ridewatches are back in full force again, and these ones are very interesting ones that we should have gotten a long time ago. Hello Kamen Rider fans and welcome back to Toku Topics. Today we're going to talk about the brand new Quartzers Ridewatch sets that Bandai announced a couple of days ago, because these are really cool. Basically every Kamen Rider season, ever since basically Decade, has had gimmick items, your ride cards, your guy memories, O's medals, all that stuff. And historically, we have gotten a vast majority of these gimmick items released in some capacity while the show itself was actually airing, whether it was in deluxe sets or magazine pack-ins, or premium would come in and, take over once the show was winding down, or if it had post-show VSNXs or movies and stuff like that. But there's always been a couple of gimmick items that have slipped through the cracks, and the longer that time went on, I always assumed that probably if something had not been announced as a Premium Bandai release within about a month to 3 months of it appearing on screen, it probably wasn't going to happen. And recently though, Bandai has actually started to take a different approach to things like this. But one of the most famous examples of something never releasing was the Yujo burst icon from Kamen Rider Ghost, or to give, the new form to Kamen Rider Necrom seen in the Spectre VSNXt. Well, earlier this year, thanks to the Kamen Rider Blades vs. Spectre special, we actually are getting a Yujo Burst Deluxe icon released in a special set on Premium Bandai. And in that article, they talked about how Bandai is going to experiment with releasing some never-before-released items that fans have wanted to see for years. And we actually got to see a follow-up to that only about a month or two ago, when we saw that they were going to finally be releasing the Deluxe Ziku Driver from Kamen Rider Forze to celebrate its 10th anniversary. So that was going way back, going all the way back to Forze, giving us an item that we never got. And here today, we have Ridewatch sets for things that we probably should have had at least 2.5 to 3 years ago at this point, or by the time that they release. And these are going to be the Quartzers Ridewatch sets. So if you've seen the Kamen Rider Gio movie that came out in 2019, Kamen Rider Gio over Quartzer, it featured the villain trio of Kamen Rider Barlix, Zanjus, and Zamonas, based off of different Heisei adjacent Kamen Riders. So while Gio is based off of the main 20 riders from Kuga through Gio, this trio of riders was based off of different Heisei adjacent riders. So Kamen Rider Barlix was based off of Black RX, since that was the first show to technically air during the Heisei era, while Kuga is regarded as the first official one, since the Heisei era in Japan happened as soon as Emperor Hirohito, or Showa, passed away in 1989. The Heisei era does begin during the middle of Black RX, so his main rider of that show and his 2 other forms were kind of the basis for Barlix's power. And then since the Heisei era was a thing during the 90s, the movie trilogy of Shin, Zeo, and Jay are counted as Showa riders because of the fact that they're before Kuga, but they did air during the Heisei era and are the basis for Kamen Rider Zanjus' power. And then of course, Kamen Rider Zamonas was based off of Kamen Rider Amazons, the Amazon Prime show from 2016, since that wasn't an official Kamen Rider series in terms of like the main show. It was like a spin-off show, but it was still definitely during the Heisei era. We had seen in the movie that they had watches based off of all of these guys that just never came out. They were never released by Bandai, except for one of them. The Amazon Omega Ridewatch did release as a premium movie ticket bonus item back in 2019, so we did get that one for Zamonas, but we never got his other 2, and we never got Barlix's, and we never got Zanjus's until now. So Bandai has revealed 3 Premium Bandai sets coming out in March of 2022 to finally give us these missing Ridewatches. First up is the Quarterz set number 1, which is going to include the Deluxe Black RX, Biorider, and Roborider Ridewatches used by Kamen Rider Barlix. So great to finally see these 3 here. What's really good about all of these watches is that the Jiku Driver is completely ready to go for this. So if you don't already know, the Jiku Driver had a number of different screens, like how the rider name would read across of it. It had a lot of them programmed into there that we never got toy watches of, including all of the Showa Riders. All 15 of the Showa Riders had screens programmed in there, and we never got anything to unlock them, as well as Amazon Omega, Neo, and Alpha. And while we did get Omega's Ridewatch, Neo and Alpha's we weren't getting until now. So we will finally be able to unlock all of those screens, which is great. I'm really happy about, well, not all the Showa ones, but all the ones, like the Amazons and Black RX and stuff like that, we will be able to unlock. The second Quartzer set is for Kamen Rider Zanjis, so this one is going to be the one that has the Shin, Zeto, and J Ridewatches in it, which is really good because this is probably the most relevant or the most important of the watch sets of the ones seen in the movie, because the J Ridewatch was specifically used by Barlix to grow giant in the final battle. Like, we very clearly see him use the J Ridewatch and everything like that. At least you can kind of argue that the other ones not being released was not that big of a deal, because they were only ever in the Ridewatch holders on the riders for like the duration of the movie. But we did get to see that, the J one used, and then I believe the Biorider one was used as well for him to like turn liquidy and stuff like that. So those ones were pretty important, and we didn't get them, so who knows. The third set is going to be for Amazon Alpha and Amazon Neo, and since, like I mentioned before, we already got Omega, what were they going to throw in for a third watch? Well, we're going to be getting the Blank Ridewatch, which is one that I'm kind of surprised we never had before. Blank gimmicks have been a thing in the past Gashapon sets before, like the blank icon during Ghost or the blank full bottle during Build, and the Blank Ridewatch was seen numerous times during the show, but we never got it. So it's cool that we're going to get this here. I don't know what it's going to do necessarily because of the fact that it is a blank Ridewatch, but it's still cool nonetheless. I don't know what screen it's going to unlock, or even if it will, it might not even unlock a screen, who knows. But this is really sweet to finally see all these happen here, and I'm pumped. So you can go ahead and pre-order all three of these on Tokullectibles for $75 each for the Japan release, but Team Kamen Rider and Bluefin have announced that they are also going to be having an American release of these come out, which should be at least a decent amount cheaper, although you're going to have to wait a couple of extra months on that front. And I believe Tokullectibles will probably carry that like they did for the most recent Ridewatch set, the Decade Complete 21 and Saber Ridewatch set, which I actually just posted a video on the other day. If you guys would like to check that out, I will leave that linked in the description below, and it will pop up on the screen somewhere here as well, which I thought was going to be the last Ridewatch set ever. I'm still trying to track down a couple of the other ones from the collection. In fact, Amazon Omega is one that I need, so I need to find that one and then buy these new sets, because I'm definitely getting these three new sets. And I'm just really happy that Bandai is finally going back to the old gimmick items and releasing them. So now, what would be really cool is if we could get the Showa Riders for Ichigo through Z-Cross. I would love to see Ridewatches released for them finally, since there are the screens programmed in there. And while we never got to see what the watches would look like technically, we did get to see them during the Geo final stage, interestingly enough. So maybe they could pull from the final stage and release those, or at least versions of those. Like I said, I think it'd be really cool. I would not want them to be like Gashapon style Ridewatches, but you could even do that. As long as we could get something, I think that would be cool. But I'll take what we can get with these ones, since I thought the ship had sailed on these. I thought we were never going to get a chance to get all of these watches that we, like I said, should have had before. The actual Quartzers themselves, the trio here, were already a premium set. The watches for Barlix, Zanjis, and Zamanus were already a premium set to begin with, so everything from that movie ended up being a premium release. So it's no surprise that it's premium here as well, but at least now that it's been a couple years and we have Team Kamen Rider and Bluefin is kind of established brands and stuff here to help us out with these things, these should be easier to get than those original sets were. But yeah, this is cool. I'm really happy about this, and like I said, I hope it leads to more. But with this and the Jiku Driver and the Yujo Burst Icon, I'm really hoping that we have some hope for some other gimmick items that we've seen on screen but never got, such as the Killbish Spider from the Build Visa Next, or of course the very iconic Bane Tank Gashat that we saw in the Snipe special that we have still never gotten a release of. There's still a lot of different random little one-off things that we could get releases for, hopefully, if they can find out some kind of way to do it. But Ridewatches are my favorite Kamen Rider gimmick, so I will always take more. Keep piling them on, Bandai. I'm still going through the backlog. We're trying to get all of them, and every time I get closer, they push that goalpost just a little further. It's like Ranger keys. So, you know, go at it, Bandai. I'll give you the money for it if you keep doing it. So, that's all I wanted to talk about here today. Thank you all for watching, of course, and I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts down in the comments below on what you think of these Ridewatch sets. Are you going to pick them up? Did you ever get to the Amazon Omega one, which will go with the third set here? Or did you ever get the original Quartzers set? Do you want them to do Showa Ridewatches? What other kind of Ridewatches would you like to see? Because I think that would be really cool. And yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. So I will also link the Tokullectibles pages to all 3 of these sets below. And I assume that they will add the US releases once that's been all confirmed. I mean, it's been confirmed that it's happening, but like once they've worked out the price and all that stuff. So just, it'll be the same link. So just go there and it will be there. And yeah, thank you all for watching. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Tokusatsu forever.